All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this, and this is the reason why we love JD Vance, and I believe JD Vance will win, and he's going to win regardless of who the Democrats got over there in 2028. As it seems from now, it seems like they're going to run with Gavin Newsom. Is that what it is? Because it seems like he numbered a copycat of President Trump. Everything President Trump do, Gavin Newsom is doing it. Writing the same thing about Gavin was always right on his hats and stuff. Just mimicking and copying everything President Trump do. And JD Vance absolutely destroys him. Pretty much saying, hey, you up here trying to copy President Trump. You will never be President Trump. So not only that, and of course, JD Vance pretty much, went off on the people that pretty much dismissed the prayer response to the Minneapolis tragedy that we covered yesterday. Now, Gavin Newsom and Jen Psaki, all of them trying to make a big deal out of praying, as if praying is a bad thing. They trying to make praying a bad thing. So it just keep getting worse and worse for these people. And I just love the way JD Vance just destroyed them one by one. And not only that, Kamala Harris has got her security stripped away from her. I will be showing y'all that because President Trump is not playing around. If Kamala Harris, if she wants security, she better buy it herself. She better get her own security and pay for it. That's where it's better happen. So we definitely about to dive straight into this. Please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. Shout out to the ones that always watch the entire video. I appreciate all of you that do it. It definitely helps get the video out there. And the ones that let me know in the comment section that you did stay to the end. I really, really appreciate it. And the ones that come straight in and hit that like button. Please hit that like button for me if you haven't. It definitely goes a long way and helps me get the video out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this, all right? So, you see right here by Benny Johnson. He said, "Much why JD Vance criticizes those who dismiss prayer in response to the Minneapolis tragedy, saying it reveals something deeply wrong in their soul," which he talking about like Gavin Newsom, all the Democrats, Jen Psaki. She put on this fake, like she was really crying. She wasn't really crying. She was faking, making praying a bad thing now. So check out what JD Vance said.
This is just an unbelievable tragedy. And we have to remember that there are a couple of families who yesterday had the worst day of their lives. And It's not going to get much better from here because of what this evil person took from these families, which is these two beautiful kids. That's my first response to it. My second response to it is I'm praying every single day, multiple times a day, that while two deaths is tragic, 3 deaths is even more tragic, and I hope it stays at 2, because there still are some kids who seem to be in pretty serious condition at the hospital, so we're praying for their swift recovery. And I think on the broader stuff, I mean, look, clearly this person was a mentally deranged human being. Clearly it was a transgender individual. We're going to learn a lot more, and I think the FBI and local authorities ought to try to get to the bottom of this. But you don't go and shoot up innocent children unless you are a clearly screwed up person. We're so soon after this tragedy that I think that it would be nice if we as a country could unite, say a prayer for these innocent victims, say a prayer for the kids who are still recovering, that they make a full recovery, focus on the investigation and getting to the bottom of this thing, and not immediately make it about politics. And my final point on this is
And he's exactly right. It seemed like every time something happened, Democrats make it about politics. Oh, it's the Trump was the reason that happened, or this right here, because Trump didn't do this. They do this crap all the time. They politicize everything. They do it all the time. So JD Vance is definitely right about that.
I see far-left politicians say, how dare you offer thoughts and prayers? You need action. I don't care about your prayers. I care about what you're going to do to prevent this from happening. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't you pray for the speedy recovery of these kids who literally just got shot yesterday, while at the same time committing to making sure this doesn't happen again, or that it happens as infrequently as possible? I don't think there's anything inconsistent about saying a prayer to God for these innocent, beautiful kids, while also thinking constructively about how we're going to prevent this from happening the next time.
Exactly.
You can do both of those things. You can hold a thought, both of those thoughts in your head at the same time.
And he's right. He's right. You can do both of those things. So why are they trying to make it like, well, don't worry about praying, just do something about it? Like, what is, these people are crazy. That's why I say, man, we cannot let these Democrats get back in office. You see what they just did under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And now you talking about, they talking about probably running Gavin Newsom. He can't even run California. How he gonna run the United States and he can't even run California? Like, come on.
And Will, if you are a politician or you're a media commentator and two beautiful babies just got murdered while praying and your politics force you to condemn prayer in response to it, you ought to get new politics because something very wrong has gone on inside your soul.
And I definitely agree with him. Like I say, talking about all these Democrats and especially Gavin Newsom and Jen Psaki. So check this out when he went off on Gavin Newsom. Just in, J.D. Vance just dropped a truth bomb on Gavin Newsom over his press office account copying President Trump. And that's what I'm talking about. He up here getting the same color hats, same slogan, acting like President Trump, and trying to use that to see if that's going to help him win in 2028, and it's not. And not only that, you know, of course, they asked J.D. Vance about President Trump's health and stuff like that. And J.D. Vance pretty much said, hey, I'm ready to run, you know, whenever the president need me and I have to step in and run, I'm able to do that, you know, because they were asking about President Trump's health because J.D. Vance said President Trump is in good health, but I'm always ready to run if need be. And what do the Democrats do? They turn into, oh, well, J.D. Vance said he's ready to become president if Donald Trump, health fails. Just twisting words. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Instead of just attacking the United States for all of its problems.
You bring up humor. Gavin Newsom sure thinks he's a comedian these days on social media, and so does much of the left. His polling numbers have gone way up since he started mimicking President Trump on social media.
Yeah.
What do you make of Governor Newsom?
I make of Governor Newsom that you said he's mimicking Donald Trump, and I think that's exactly right. The lesson of Donald Trump, the lesson of President Trump in American politics is you've got to be authentic to yourself.
Yep.
And when I see Gavin Newsom trying to act like Donald Trump, that's the opposite of authenticity. He's not trying to be Gavin Newsom, whoever that is. He's trying to be a fake carbon copy of Donald Trump, and it just doesn't work. You can't mimic the king. You can't mimic the master. You ought to just go and be yourself, and I think that the American people would like that a lot more than a cheap imitation of the President of the United States.
All right, lastly, on a lighter note, I'm disappointed to see your...
You heard what he said. He just a cheap version. Like, Gavin Newsom could never be President Trump. Now he want to mimic him, and now his poll numbers done rose up high because he's mimicking President Trump. But what is that going to get you? It still ain't going to get you no victory over J.D. Vance in 2028, so you can just forget that. You can forget that. It's not going to work at all. So you go ahead and forget about it. So not only that, he even went off on Zohran Mamdani. So it seemed like the Democrats been putting a lot of love into Zohran Mamdani. So check this out. Say J.D. Vance scorches communist Zohran Mamdani. Check this out.
Does Mamdani, when you hear him speak, is this a man who feels gratitude for the United States of America? Is this a man who feels grateful for all of the opportunities, the incredible bounty of this country? I don't know the guy, but my sense is he's had a very good life in this country. It would be nice for him to occasionally show a sense of gratitude instead of just attacking the United States for all of its problems.
There you go right there. So, J.D. Vance ain't finna get him no whole lot of airtime and stuff like that because nobody really even know him. Now, this one right here, I had to show y'all this one because they said breaking. J.D. Vance just claimed there is no Epstein list and blame Biden for the scandal going public. So let's check out what J.D. Vance said here because I definitely wanted to let y'all see this and y'all let me know in the comment section how do y'all feel about this right here. Let's go.
Jeffrey Epstein. Now that you're in power, you say that there is no client list. Why do you think it is that so many of your own supporters don't believe you?
Well, I think what the president has said, first of all, is he's told the Department of Justice to do full transparency.
He did.
To release what we have, to release the...
He did. He said release everything credible. President Trump said it about 3, 4, 5 times. I mean, I don't know how many more times he had to say it, but yet Democrats still get on TV. Donald Trump ain't released the Epstein list. Donald Trump ain't did this. And he told Pam Bundy numerous of times, release everything credible.
Credible information. And I think you saw Todd Blanche just a couple of days ago actually release the 9-hour transcript of interview that he did with Ghislaine Maxwell. What the president has also said is that we've got a whole host of things that we can focus on. You can both order the Department of Justice to do full transparency. You can also ask the Department of Justice to enforce the law. You can also ask the National Guard to make sure that DC's streets are safe. You don't have to do one of these things or the other. So I don't think that it's a distraction, especially when I think the president has ordered the administration to be more transparent about this. than any other issue. Now, yes, I'm certainly aware that there are folks, even some of our own supporters, who have criticized the response of the President, of the Department of Justice. But I think if you look at this in full and you give this the proper amount of time, what you're going to find is that the administration has been far more open and transparent about this issue and many others than any other administration. We have to remember this entire thing happened. This entire story blew up during the Biden administration. The Biden administration had 4 years to release this information. They did absolutely nothing. The president has actually directed his...
And that's what I was saying before, that Barack Obama was in office where he had 2 terms. Why didn't he do it? Why didn't he release anything? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris in there 4 years. I didn't see no Democrats saying, hey, why Kamala Harris and Joe Biden won't release the Epstein list? But soon President Trump get in office, y'all expect him to do it, and now he's hiding some. If President Trump did anything wrong, you don't think Kamala Harris and Joe Biden would have released it? You don't think they would have released it to try to win the presidency? Like, come on.
Department of Justice to release whatever information that we can, and also to go further. I mean, to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell for 9 hours to see if there are any other leads that we can uncover to actually identify some crimes that we can prosecute. But again, as the president has always said, we're going to let the Department of Justice be driven by the facts and the law. We're not going to prosecute people just because other people want us to. We're only going to prosecute people if they committed a crime. That's true in the Epstein situation, and that's true in a lot of other issues as well. That's why the president's focus on credibility here and the real evidence.
There you go, right there by J.D. Vance. Now, this is where the liberals, Democrats, they trying to spin, J.D. Vance's words, trying to make it seem like, oh, I'm ready to become president now because Donald Trump's health is failing. This is what the Democrats do. So let's check this out by Eric Dahl. He said, breaking, J.D. Vance say he is ready to become president, but President Trump's health is perfectly fine and Americans have nothing to worry about. 48 in 3.5 years, but like I said before, Democrats would turn in and say otherwise, and y'all already know what I'm talking about. So check out J.D. Vance saying this.
And why should Americans trust you to lead the country?
Well, I've gotten a lot of good on-the-job training in the last 200 days, but also say that the president is in incredibly good health. He's got incredible energy. And while most of the people who work around the president of the United States are younger than he is, I think that we find that he actually is the last person who goes to sleep. He's the last person making phone calls at night, and he's the first person who wakes up and the first person making phone calls in the morning. So, yes, things can always happen. Yes, terrible tragedies happen, but I feel very confident the President of the United States is in good shape, is going to serve out the remainder of his term and do great things for the American people. And if, God forbid, there's a terrible tragedy, I can't think of better on-the-job training than what I've gotten over the last 200 days.
Salute to J.D. Vance. Salute to J.D. Vance. Now, look at where it got leading report down here where it say breaking. Vice President J.D. Vance say he is ready to be president if President Trump's health fails. It's just the wordings that they use to try to make it sound some type of way. So when Benny seen this, Benny Johnson, he says sensationalist garbage. The VP was asked directly about Trump's health and said Trump is incredibly good. The left is desperate to create division. Kamala Harris' son served under a senile president who couldn't walk. Was she ever asked this question a single time? You see what I'm talking about? But this is what they do. No matter what J.D. Vance say, no matter what President Trump say, Democrats are going to try to, change the narrative every single time to fit their little old narrative and to make it seem like this is what that person said, all because they don't like them. Now, I showed y'all this yesterday where, Caroline Levitt pretty much responded to Jen Psaki over the praying, the Christians, children praying and stuff like that. And then you can see Gavin Newsom right up top talking about these children was literally praying as they got shot at. These Democrats are stupid. So let's just replay what Caroline Levitt said.
I have 2 questions for you. Sure. Democrats, including former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, attacked prayer and pushed gun control in the aftermath of yesterday's shooting. What's the White House's response to their comments?
Yes, I saw the comments of my predecessor, Ms. Psaki, and frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer, who believe that prayer works, and who believe that in a time of mourning like this, when beautiful young children were killed while praying in a church, it's utterly disrespectful to deride the power of prayer in this country, and it's disrespectful to the millions of Americans of faith. And I would encourage Ms. Psaki to pray for these families themselves who need it right now more than ever.
Yeah, say pray for these families, and you got Gavin Newsom and Jen Psaki talking about forget praying. Don't pray. Like, praying is bad now, and you got this clown, Gavin Newsom, right above her, pretty much saying these children were literally praying as they got shot at, as if like he's trying to say, well, you talking about pray, but they was praying and got shot at. I was trying to say you shouldn't pray. These people are freaking clowns, man, and this is just what they do. Now, even Tulsi Gabbard has stepped in. Let me let y'all know what she said. By Eric Daughter, he said, just in. Tulsi Gabbard fires back at Jen Psaki after she attacked Christians for praying after the shooting in Minneapolis. So she said, why is it that people like Jen Psaki and others have such a spontaneous, visceral, negative reaction to those who are praying to God to refuse strength and for the well-being of the victims of this heinous attack? Because they do not believe in God or his love. Their response is rooted in their hatred of God. They want to be God, so they view him as a competitor. They are agents of darkness, and hatred and the light of God, love is the threat to their dark ambitions. And Tulsi Gabbard is exactly right. She's pretty much, she's telling the truth. So now that's what I'm saying. They're trying to make praying a bad thing. So let's move on to this right here. The last thing I want to show y'all is that what President Trump just did to Kamala Harris. So by Benny Johnson said breaking, President Trump has canceled Kamala Harris' Secret Service protection. And you can see it right here, even CNN posted it. Trump cancels Kamala Harris' Secret Service detail that was extended by undisclosed Biden order. And like I said, she's pretty much done. And you see by Eric Daughter said breaking, President Trump has canceled Kamala Harris' Secret Service protection. Let's see what he said right here. He said President Donald Trump revoked Kamala Harris' Secret Service protection on Thursday, according to a copy of a letter reviewed by CNN. Former presidents receive Secret Service protection for life. Harris, as a former vice president, received 6 months of protection after leaving office, according to federal law. That period ended on July 21st. However, her protection had been extended for an additional year via a directive not made public until now, signed by then President Joe Biden shortly before leaving office, according to multiple people familiar with the undisclosed arrangements. This is the order Trump canceled in his letter titled Memorandum for the Secretary of Homeland Security and dated Thursday. And you can see right here, she already had it for 6 months after leaving office. It was apparently extended by Biden until now. But, you know, President Trump said, hey, you want security? You pay for it. That's what the president is saying. So you want these guys right here to be around you? It's going to come out of your pocket, Kamala Harris. And that is exactly what's going to happen. But once again, like I said, salute to J.D. Vance, man. I feel like J.D. Vance is going to be incredible. He's going to be incredible in 2028. And like I said, I can't wait, man. There's no way I can see a Gavin Newsom or any other Democrat over there that's going to beat J.D. Vance. It's just not going to happen. I don't see it at all. Who do they even got over there that can even compete? If Gavin Newsom, AOC, Jasmine Crock shit, if that's all y'all got, then bring it on. If that's all y'all, the Democrats got over there to go up against J.D. Vance in 2028, bring it on. Bring it on. But like I said, thank you all for watching, especially the ones that made it to the end. I will keep y'all up to date as more information come out. And like I said, again, make sure you please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay up to date with everything that's going on. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.